welcome to Book World: The Great Escape. I am author CJ Peterson, and my co-host over here is author Michael Scott Clifton. Welcome to Book World: The Great Escape. We'll be doing part 2 today regarding exploring the publishing realm. Last week we did exploring the traditional as well as the vanity, which, by the way, vanity run, R-U, capital N, exclamation points, underlines, run, don't go there. So we'll get to that in just a second. Mike, how are you doing? How was your week? Do you have any plans for this weekend?
Going to the state UIL football championships with a friend of mine. That'll
fun.
be at Jerry's World in Arlington. So we're going to watch some football championships. Kind of an annual tradition that we do every year. Broken up by COVID. Speaking of which, last year when I went, I caught COVID at the state.
No.
Yes, and then it kind of messed up our Christmas. So fingers crossed that this year is a little bit different.
Yeah, definitely.
But had our last event of the year, the Longview Art Walk, and we did pretty good. It's been a really good year, and I appreciate all the fans and readers who have contacted me or purchased books, whether it be ebooks, paperbacks, or audiobooks, and really appreciate that. And it's just remind everybody, as you well know, CJ, with Christmas approaching, we both have 99-cent ebook sales going on, and so take advantage of that. You can get all of CJ's books, or you can get all of my books for pennies on the dollar that you would normally have to pay for regular ebooks. So be sure to get those. And also, we both have Square stores at our website. So if you'd like an autographed copy, what's the deadline? What's the last day they can get one shipped to them, CJ?
Actually, Friday is what I put it in my newsletter. Because Christmas is going to be the following week, and that's going to be a super tight schedule to get to them in time.
Okay. So Friday is the 16th.
So ASAP.
Okay.
Yeah. It
December
should be the 17th should be the cutoff. So try to order them by the 17th by the end of day. Even then, like I said, it's going to be kind of crunchy to make that Christmas timeline, but do your best.
And you can get these copies will be autographed as opposed to just order them directly from, say, Amazon or Ingram Spark.
Yep. But of course, the procrastinators, people, I'm all for it. I'm here for you. So is Mike. We have the 99-cent stocking stuffers. So there's that.
Good deal. You can't beat it.
No. So our last week was pretty good. Kind of laid back, relaxed. But this week we're so excited. Because I've been on crutches and wheels all pretty much for half the year, and then coughing up a lung, and then dealing with my other medical issues. It's like this year has just really sucked. So I have not gone to do a lot of Comic-Cons, and it broke my heart. But this Saturday in Conroe, Texas, I'll be covering Terror Fest for the other podcast that I'm on, the Con Hour. So super excited about that. I know some of the guests include Eddie Munster, the original OG Eddie Munster, little guy. And then Peggy Miles, I believe is what her name is. She was the older lady in season 3 of Stranger Things, the one that Nancy and Jonathan had run into who called the paper initially about the rats. So she's going to be there. And then the little boy from Poltergeist is going to be there, among other things. But I said specifically I wanted those 3 because I'm an 80s kid. So, of course, the Munsters and Stranger Things, that totally fits that. I said, and I was traumatized by Poltergeist, so I might as well interview the poor kid that did it. So, I'm excited. But yeah, I get to cover that for the Con Hour. We're working on, the 2023 con schedule. Mike and I were just talking about that before we came on here. So we got some good stuff coming. I know that Comic Conroe is going to be March 10th, 11th, and 12th, I believe, in Conroe, Texas, at the Lone Star Convention Center. I'll be doing Waifu Fest. Super Hubby and I were helping with Waifu Fest, which is New Year's Eve at the DoubleTree near the Hobby Airport down in Houston. And that's going to be New Year's Eve weekend, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that's going to be fun. That's more of an anime. Trying to think what else. I think that's about it. And just for those that are paying attention and listening, this is the last podcast for this year. And then we have the first 2 weeks in January where we will be back. But then the last 2 weeks we're going to be taking off because I will not be available. So kind of jump skipping a little bit, but we'll get there. And I know that next Wednesday, or the first Wednesday in January, is going to be doing Magic of Realism. And then the next week is going to be Lana Lynn Higginbotham, a Christian fiction author. So I'm super excited to get that year kicked off for season 3. But until then, we need to jump back into publishing, exploring the publishing realm, because we need to clear this for today. There's a lot we still have to go over. Like I said, to do the quick version, we discussed traditional as an option. We've discussed Vanity Press. We've discussed Vanity Press. And now we're going to be talking about independent and self-publishing. So this is the one that I started off. Mike is part of this. Basically, you have complete creative control when you do independent self-publishing. That's what I jumped into because I knew my stuff would not fit anybody's little box. I don't even deal with the box. I've just thrown it away. I don't fit a box at all. So I knew that going in. So I knew independent was going to be my option, self-publishing. You get to choose what you want to write and how you want your book cover to look. You work with professional freelancers to help you. If you choose this route, make sure you get a professional editor as well as a cover artist, unless you are good regarding a cover artist. But an editor is really a non-negotiable because you really cannot edit your own book. Either do, like we said before, the critique groups or a writing group of some sort or a professional editor, because otherwise it's not going to, your interior needs to match your exterior. This is also a faster time from the initial idea to published book. After you've had your book professionally edited, your book can be for sale as soon as 24 hours after you upload it to Amazon, and you get paid 60 days after the end of the month. Now, that's the beauty of self-publishing. And Amazon, actually, I did do one via Amazon because Ingram was giving me grief with Chain Reaction, and it was up within 24 hours. I was very impressed, and they actually answered a phone call, which I can't get Ingram to do. You can sell by any means you want in any global market. Since you keep your rights as a self-published author, you can sell your book how you want to. When you write in niche markets, you can sell your book a little higher. Just kind of keep that thought in mind as well. But when you go to sell, you're still your own marketer, which I've kind of covered that a little bit throughout the last year and a half we've been on. We've touched marketing ideas here and there. So, keep that thought in mind when you go to do stuff. Independent self-publishing, higher royalties. You get higher royalties than if you publish traditionally. As a self-published author who published direct to Amazon, you get between 70 to 85% of royalties versus 10 to 25 for a traditionally published book, which we talked about last week. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. If you are let me clarify this as clearly and loudly as I can. If you are an author to make money, you are in the wrong profession. We are authors for the joy of writing and for the readers who read them. You are not in it for money. Just putting it out there right there. As you start to understand what your audience wants, you'll start to sell more books, which means more royalties, a little bit higher. You can play a little bit with that. Like if, for example, when I first put a book out, usually the first month I have it at 99 cents. In order to do that, I only get 35% of it from Amazon specifically. Because if you're going to get the higher percentage of royalties, they like you to be $2.99 or higher. So kind of keep that thought in mind when you're dealing with your ebooks. As your sales increase, you can show evidence of sales. And if you want, get some of your books traditionally published. It's a way in. So as you're trying to figure out and navigate this whole world, that's an option as well. You need to do everything yourself as an independent self-published author and find professionals who can help you. As you connect with people online, it's not hard to find editors, cover designers, and more freelancers to help you. You still need to be careful. Unlike when I was a catastrophe adjuster, there are fly-by nights that you need to be careful that you do not utilize. So make sure that they're reputable. Check with your other authors. Hey, have you worked with this person before? Do you have anybody that you recommend? Authors, most of us, about 80 to 90%, I would say, this isn't a competition because not every book is for every reader. We are just generally overly concerned with the fact that reading needs to not be a lost art. So that's kind of more what we're concerned with. You need to run and manage all aspects of the business as an independent self-published author. The first time is the hardest, and after that, it gets easier with time. There's less prestige with self-publishing. Let's face it, it's true. Though not as much as time goes and quality books are put out there. You put out the quality work, your reader will find you. And you do the marketing, your reader will find you. And that's the point. It has to be quality work. To create a professional book, you need to have a budget that includes editing, book cover design, and even a little bit of marketing, because sometimes you have to pay to advertise. The first thing potential readers of your book see is your book cover. That's why it's so important to have a great looking book cover that attracts readers to your particular genre. You need to invest no matter what business you begin. You need to spend money to make money. That's just an overall blanket on anything. But you want to put out quality, because if you have a great story idea and it's not been edited properly, no one's going to like it and it's not going to take off. And especially with your first book, it's kind of like being the first time up to bat at a softball or baseball game. That's your first impression. You can never make a first impression twice. Keep that thought in mind. Mike, do you have anything else to say regarding independent self-published?
The main thing I think with self-publishing is that you can do, there's different levels of self-publishing. Someone like yourself, CJ, that is, you have very good tech skills. You can go to Amazon and KDP and you can get your own book published. Doesn't cost you any money. Of course, you spelled out some of the things that, it seems, that easier said than done, because it's one thing to publish a book. It's another thing to have it edited and critiqued properly. But there are companies like Texas Sisters Press. The company I use, Book Liftoff, these are companies that publish books for indie authors. You do have to be very careful about, as we have said in last week's broadcast, that there are a lot of fly-by-night operations out there.
Vanity presses. We're jumping into hybrid, which is what Texas Sisters Press is. We'll talk about that in a minute.
But the main thing,
published, there's like Draft to Digital. There's KDP now has like it's kind of comparable to Vellum,
right?
Actually, what they call it, but it used to be Creative Space, and now it's something else. I can't remember what they call it at KDP. But you can do that way. You can also get on Bowker and get your own ISBN and do the whole Ingram route. It just depends on how much money you want to invest.
I think the biggest thing is marketing your book, because when you're an indie author, it's completely on you. You have to, and you've actually gone over some of the things that you can do: book promotions, Amazon ads, ads on publications. But that's something that most authors, I don't know if CJ, I think it comes a little easier to you, but most authors do not like having to do their own PR, because it's something you have to do consistently. It's something that you have to do on a regular basis. And it's something that very few people just start writing and have a feel for. It takes time to be able to learn how to do those things. But if all you want to do is publish a book, and you're not really worried about if you sell many copies, then don't worry about it. But if you are wanting to have some level of success with the books that you have published, you're going to have to learn, and you're going to have to find some way to market your books. And there's a lot of different platforms. That may even be another broadcast topic at some point in the future. But
definitely. Well, we've already touched traditional last week, and we went over the vanity press. We just did the independent self-publishing. There is a fourth option that some people choose to utilize, and that's hybrid publishing. As I mentioned before, Texas Sisters Press is a hybrid publisher. I do another one, OC Publishing, I believe. one of our authors, Diane Floyd Bame, actually, some of her books are through another hybrid publisher. And a lot of times people look at it, well, you're paying money. Okay, well, that just depends on what you're looking for. Okay. That's an option you can choose, and you can choose or not choose. It's up to you. But hybrid publishing refers to publishers who don't assume the risk like traditional publishers, but they also don't accept every author who walks in the door like a vanity publisher. Me, I read all the books, or at least read enough to get a good idea of what the storyline is like, what their writing style is like, to see if they actually fit Texas Sisters Press. Different hybrid publishers are different. Hybrid publishers publish under their own imprint. That is, they use their own ISBNs. The author's book is published by the name of the hybrid publisher. The author pays for most or all of the cost to produce their book, but you are in control and managing your creative process and business. Again, it just depends on the level of each hybrid publishing, on how much they do or how little they do. The hybrid publisher offers book distribution capacities that exceed what self-publishers can achieve on their own. You can also enter book awards with publishing company name behind you, and that is actually a bigger deal than people think. Sometimes it is a little bit easier when you're not just an independent and self-publisher. But like I said, I started that way. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. And I even got awards that way. Just sometimes it's just a little bit easier with an actual publisher on getting, some accreditation behind you. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's going to depend on you. The author will subsidize or pay the full cost of print quantities of their own book. You are also working with other creative professionals to offer you tips and tricks. Again, the beauty of Texas Sisters Press is I take you through a marketing 101. So I get you ready to go. So it's not just the publishing you're paying for. You're actually paying for a lot of, I teach you marketing and I get you set up. So when it is time for your book launch, you are literally ready to go. And so you need to check into your publisher and say, hey, okay, what am I getting for my cost? Is it balancing out? Authors receive a higher royalty than they'd receive from a traditional publisher, but a lower royalty than they would get if they were self-published. That is legit. I know at Texas Sisters Press, and that's the reason I'm saying this is because we are hybrid. Right. Our authors retain full copyrights except for the ISBN number because it is attached to Texas Sisters Press. They also get 90% of the net from Ingram, and they get the full Kindle. Not everybody does that. You need to find out what each publisher gives you as far as your copyright, as far as how much of the net that you get. You need to be careful and make sure, you're getting the balance on it. Ours is more of an upfront cost. We take half of it when you sign the contract and the other half just prior to publishing. But I don't make it a secret on how much ours is. Like all businesses, they have limited resources. They seek to invest those books in which the authors that have the greatest chance for success. If somebody comes to me with a very rough storyline, a lot of times I've kicked it back. I said, take another crack at it. It's a great idea, but you need to bring up a little bit more of this character or flesh this part of the storyline out. And a lot of times I will give them some tips or tricks. Say, hey, try this instead of this, whether they choose to come with us or not. That's what I do. They have a reputation at stake. Their skill at selecting books to publish helps them build relationship, especially as it relates to distribution. Can this book sell? Because Texas Sisters Press, we also get 10% of the net. So we are actually making some as well. So a lot of times you have to kind of weigh that. What are they getting? What am I getting as an author? Can this benefit me? Can this work together? And a lot of times you don't know. You have to actually talk to the publisher to find out. Hybrid publishers are financially motivated. They want to maximize the royalties they receive, like a traditional publisher. They also have a reputation to uphold. At ours, it's quality books for the family. So there is a certain level that I will accept, and there's a certain level that I will not, because your reputation is on the line with each book that you put out. You're publishing books professionally and in the global market. Again, Ingram helps you get it all out there. Your books are being read and you're selling copies. You're running a small business on the path to making good money. When our authors come in, I tell them they are an authorpreneur. This is a business. and we're just there to help the business. Sometimes people understand that, sometimes they don't, so sometimes they ask for clarification. That's no problem. I have no problem clarifying any of it. It's important to be proactive in writing, networking, marketing, and just learning about all of the process. Copyrights for the author will depend on the publisher. Again, for Texas Sisters Press, like I said, they retain all copyrights except for the ISBN, because that's the Texas Sisters Press. Otherwise, everything is our authors, belongs to them. Where to start marketing? Now, we're just touching on this. This can go so far in depth that you could get lost, but I'm just kind of skimming the
Right.
surface right now. 3 months prior to publishing, set up a social media accounts to grow audience on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Those are the big ones. Branding. Have a consistent handle. Brand to the author, not to the series or the book. I cannot stress this enough because a lot of times authors will start accounts regarding a series that they're working on. Well, I got to tell you, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 series and multiple standalones. So if I had a page for each one of those 5 series, it would be brutal to try to keep up. So you brand to the author, not to a series. Consistent author photo and cover, logo, and a short biography. That way, when they find your stuff online and they're like, okay, well, yeah, the handle looks the same, but the profile picture is the same, and so is the cover. So therefore, I know I have found the right person that I'm looking for. And that makes them feel a little bit better too. Website, there's GoDaddy, WordPress, etc. There's so many out there. A simple one page to start is good. You would be stunned at how many authors do not even have Amazon author pages. That's brutal. When we talked about the handles, sometimes authors have different handles for different social medias, and trying to find them all is ridiculously hard. And it shouldn't be hard for people to find you. Once you have a cover, set up a cover reveal live or via an ad, and set up a date for a live book launch. StreamYard has 3 platforms at once. Zoom has 1 platform and try to get authors with the same genre. For example, we have an author launching a book on January 5th. We're doing a short cover reel, only has to be like 5-10 minutes for the cover reveal. We're doing that the week before on the 27th. We have the book launching on the 5th. And I have like Mike's there, I'm there, DC Gomez is there, Jeff Craig is there, and there's another one, I can't remember who it is. But they're all coming because it's a like genre. It's a time travel book, which people know that I have Chain Reaction. So it's a sci-fi time travel book, which fits. Mine definitely fits. Yours fits because it's fantasy. So it's kind of like sci-fi fantasy realm. So try to find people of like genre or authors that are out there to join in on the fun. Set up other ad options and interviews to time around the launch. Add examples, great book deals, podcasts, written interviews. If you are a Texas-based author, Lone Star Literary Life has some great options. Have fun with the launch. Do giveaways, YouTube, or someone in the publishing realm who has a channel, etc. A lot of times websites need a YouTube link or Vimeo link for the back end of the website to go onto the website. So YouTube is a great tool to use. Make sure to utilize that. What's next? After publishing, keep the advertising 80-20 rule. 80-20 rule is 80% personal or fun stuff. 20 is, hey, buy my book. That way you're not inundating the people over and over again, and they're not going to be going tone deaf to your ads. So 80-20 rule. Plus, a lot of times people like to connect with an author on a different level other than just their books. And if they can, then that's great because you've got a loyal follower. Work on the next book. You got to keep doing it. Content, content, content. This is an ADD society. You have to continuously get stuff out there. That's why I'm an author, blogger times 2. I have 2 blogs. I have 2 podcasts that I'm on. And I'm a publisher. It's continuously putting content out there and getting it moving, getting it generating, continuously getting it in front of people because they need to see it over and over again. Look at other options to get content out. Podcasting, blogging, speaking, etc. I do speaking opportunities. So does Mike. That allows us to get out. That's part of the content. Hey, I'm going to be speaking at this. Hey, I'm going to be speaking at that. So there's tons of ways to get out there. You now have the compass and the map to take you to the uttermost parts of the earth. So go for it. Basically, that in a nutshell, it's kind of just skimming the top, but that's your basic how to explore the publishing realm. Like I said, we did the traditional and the Vanity Press last week. So you can look for that. That's episode 37, I believe. This is episode 38. There's a part one and a part two to make sure you get both of them. If you want to grab a pen and pencil, go to our YouTubes. It allows you to rewind, go back, and you can take notes. It's a great deal. But yeah, publishing realm, there's definitely tons of options. Depends on who you are and what you want to do and how you want to do it. Like how proficient are you at different options? So, Mike, any questions, comments, concerns? We have about 4 minutes left.
I think that if you're wanting to get a book published, if you're thinking about writing in a serious way, you need to have some goals about what you want to do. And
Mhm.
publishing, as has been pointed out the last two podcasts, has to be top of your list. What is it you want to accomplish?
Mhm.
Now, as you pointed out, CJ, if you're expecting to get rich overnight, probably going to be sorely disappointed. Uh,
Mhm.
but if
There's
you're
a reason
wanting,
why we go to the Comic Cons.
right, that's true. Uh,
Mhm.
it's really something where you have to have, you know, you have to have more than just a few books to break even. But uh, be very careful. I'm going back to what we went over in the first broadcast. There are so many companies out there, fly-by-night operations, that will claim to publish your book and get them on certain platforms, that sort of thing. 95% of them are fraudulent, and
Mhm.
95% of them charge exorbitant fees.
If they
Um,
want thousands of dollars, please call me.
right, right,
Please
but
email me.
yeah, right.
Find me,
But
please.
it goes back again to what are the goals you want to achieve as
Mhm.
an author. The things
And
that
what
I
do you
found,
feel you're proficient at? Where are your limitations?
right,
Know your limitations.
right, and I would say first thing a person needs to do is if you're going to get a book published, make sure it's the best possible book that
Mhm.
you can get published, which goes back to what you were talking about earlier about the editing and
Mhm.
critique groups and of course the book cover. The book cover is very important,
Mhm.
and expect to spend some money.
Mhm.
But and I know we don't have much time. One of the joys of being an indie author, an independent author, is that you get to write what you want to write about. And you touched on that too, CJ. You know,
Mhm.
it's not, you're not being directed, you're not being told, you don't have a checkoff list that you have to
Mhm.
include, you don't have a publishing deadline, or you have to produce so many books. And also, you know, you're free to market your books in whatever fashion in which you feel comfortable doing. And
Exactly.
I would add with Texas Sisters Press and the other reputable hybrid publishing companies, um, you want them to be selective in who they
Mhm.
take on as clients. You do. You want
And
them
I've
to
said
care
to them,
about that.
just I've done it. And it's like I read through every book, or at least enough. If it's a large enough one, I read enough to get the basic gist of it to make sure that okay, yes, that is Texas Sisters Press's standard. Because it's like you want them to have a certain level because that's their reputation. And when Texas Sisters Press takes you under their wing, you're part of the family, and our brand is behind you. So I'm very careful on which ones that I do.
And that's very important. You don't want any publishing company that'll take just anybody because then it's all about the money
Mhm.
and not necessarily the quality or the content.
Mhm.
So, yeah. So I think that's real important.
Definitely. Well, we're almost done, folks. Again, we're going to have the next 2 weekends off for Christmas and New Year's. But the first week in January, we're going to be talking magical realism on January 4th. Then January 11th, we'll have Lana Lynn Higginbotham for Christian fiction. And then we're going to have the 18th and 25th are also off. And then we'll be back on the 1st of February. So make sure to find us. Again, this is part 2 of a series. So there is a part 1. Just go back and find it. You have to YouTube has messed with everything. You actually have to click on the little live when you go to our little web pages for YouTube because they've got the live ones under a different umbrella than the standard ones that you upload. So that's Lana. Lana says Merry Christmas. I look forward to January, Lana. We're looking forward to it as well. So everybody else, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Stay safe, and we'll catch you guys on the flip side on 2023.